Howdy, how's it going? Greetings from Southeast Texas, where it's beautiful and rainy right now and thunderstormy, in fact. So I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm John Nelson, the plugin CEO of JKL Works and Plugin Business. And we do have a bit of a rainstorms going through here. And I have a big, bruising, overprotective Labrador retriever who backs down from no one except a thunderstorm. And so he's cowering under the desk at the moment. He's not doing very well. So apologies in advance for the dog. He's lovable and he's excels actually, truthfully, in so many other things. But around rainstorms, he is an absolute big baby. So anyway, that's I'm talking about him and he doesn't really care. So, we let's talk about some things that are kind of leading up to some other things here. We spend a lot of time here on Boost Live talking about all types of different ways that we can help you optimize your business, optimize your marketing, get into those approaches, cut through some non-conventional things. And we've got some non-conventional stuff for you today. Going to introduce you to something we call the conversion equation. So you'll see it's not really an equation. It's 4 steps, but they're 4 important steps. And like a lot of things that we talk about, I'll be honest with you, they're not revolutionary. They are time-tested, much proven wisdom. So I hope you benefit from those, and I hope you see them as something kind of anew. But we are going to, along the way, talk about a concept that actually is new. So let's jump into it here, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about here. So we're going to talk about the conversion equation. We're going to talk about how to move somebody from cut through media overload to get to the offer. Okay, that's how we're going to do. So let's first get into that. We're going to discuss the conversion equation, what it is, going to break it down for you. We're going to talk briefly about media overload, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on it because next time when you see this Boost Live, we will have somebody who is a general expert on it and cutting through it. So I'm honored to have them as a guest, and we'll introduce you to the concept of what it is briefly, and then let him finish up the next time that we talk. But finally, we're going to put this all together. How do you cut through the noise? How do you cut through the media overload? How do you exercise that conversion equation to get actually somebody to buy and to say yes to what you have or what your clients have? Because it's something we all have to deal with and we all have to address at some point here. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's talk about that said conversion equation. This is a graphic you've probably seen before if you spend any amount of time around us. And by the way, speaking of doing that, we just crossed over 3,900 members in the Facebook group and just celebrated 1 year of existence. So thank you all for making that truly special. We have some very cool things coming up that I really am not going to talk about yet, other than to say they are coming to make it even more of a special deal, and to try to and to get the community is there. Everybody's soaking up the goodness. So it's time that you all give some value back. I know it's out there. I know you have it. I know you're not just here to pitch somebody. You're here to share wisdom that you have. And so we're going to give you plenty of opportunities to do that. And perhaps even come alongside yourself or your company, or bring your clients alongside, and let's get them some real business life change. Shall we do that? So it's things like this. This is how we would do it. So the conversion equation goes interrupt, and then engage, educate, and offer. And we're going to break down each one of these. These are the 4 stages that you got to go through. And I probably seems a bit obvious now where the media overload might come in. You got to interrupt something, right? So we'll get into that. That is an aspect of this. But ultimately, we do want to get somebody through the pitch, through a good creative pitch, and on to what it is that you really want to offer them, because you've done your homework, you understand them like nobody else, and you're ready to make it happen. And you're ready to prove to them that you deserve their business, that they deserve what you have for them, and you deserve their business. So here we go. All right. Let's talk about interrupting. Interrupting so let's picture this. I know you see it all on the screen, so let's just talk about it. So the interrupting is what are we interrupting? We are interrupting all the notifications and the social media scrolling and the likes and the reels and the YouTubes and YouTube videos and YouTube shorts. We're interrupting all that TikTok is. We're interrupting, all these different things, all email notifications, phones going off at all times of the hour. They talk about that's the whole concept of digital well-being has become a thing in the last 10 years, even 5 years, really. As has focus mode on several apps now, if you notice, especially browsers and that sort of thing. They have a focus mode where it turns off all the other junk and extraneous notifications and distractions and just lets you work on the thing that you're working on. About time, right? But here's the thing. You've got to cut through that. If you're going to offer somebody something, you're going to have to interrupt what they're doing. You're going to have to interrupt their flow, their normal activity with what it is that you have. And it has to be a strong message to do that. It's got to be something that is worth their time and that is getting increasingly harder to do. Because yes, sort of the good and bad of this is more people are coming up with creative ways to do it. The bad side is that's just ups the ante even more. It ups the bar for everybody to try to come up with something. So there are some ways you can shortcut that, and we're going to talk about those. And when we talk about interrupting, we don't necessarily mean a full stop. A full stop would be ideal, but I think that's unrealistic. You're going to find that stopping somebody completely from what it is that they're doing, from particularly if it's and let's face it, guys, social media is a habit. It can be a bad habit. It can be a completely distracting habit. Okay, let's just call it what it is. Even though we're in a Facebook group, we're a part of that whole thing and generating those notifications too. We all are. So, but I think if we're all honest with ourselves, it's a bad habit that we want to be informed, but there should come a point that we need to be able to put it down and to walk away from it and to detach and get back to what we used to do. We had a hurricane recently come through here, and I was joking with a friend of mine over text because that's all we kind of had. It was like the 1990s all over again. We had phone, we had a little bit of phone maybe, and we had text messages. And that was pretty much it. None of this other stuff even worked. The whole data side was completely down for a time during that storm because the towers were having trouble processing it. And it was incredibly amusing. But you had to find something in the middle of the storm to laugh at. So that's what we were laughing at. But that's the reality. I mean, we have to be able to stop this and take a pause sometimes when it's appropriate and go from there. And so it's a pause is very realistic. You see the pause symbol here, right, on your remote. But a stop is probably unrealistic. You're not going to necessarily get people to completely peel away from what it is that they're doing. But if you get them to pause, that's good enough for right now. With the hopes that perhaps later you can get them to stop and really pay attention to what you have. Not stop a habit altogether. That's completely unrealistic. But stop long enough for you to go through the rest of the conversion with them. And that leads us to the next spot, which is engaging. Okay, you've stopped them. What are you going to do now? You've got their attention. You've got it going on here with them. Okay, so the next things that you're going to do here. I got to play with my screen there a little bit. Oops. There we go. Oh, that looks good. That's going to be awesome. Okay, so the next thing you do that whenever you stop with them is, you have your message ready. This is a coordinated, planned event. So you are working hard to stop them, and so then you have to have that message ready to tell them what it is that you're going to tell them. It has to be unique. It's the TikTok theory, right? What they tell you, in case you didn't already know, when you're working on TikTok, when you're trying to post videos on TikTok and you're trying to get attention and you're trying to do all these things, what they don't tell what they do tell you, I'm sorry, is to do something unique that gets their attention. Okay, so if you're going to engage them, this is the carnival barker. This is the people that are in Times Square that are banging on stuff really loud. I mean, yes, it interrupts what you're doing. Yes, you're looking over there, but once they have your attention, they've got to keep it long enough to get the message across. So you got to be unique, okay? And as we talked about a minute ago, work to extend the stop. Work to do something that is more of your because when you move on to the next phase here, you're going to want them to stop a little bit longer. So your idea is more than just a passing glance. You want to actually talk to them. You want to actually get some reaction out of them with what it is that you're trying to do and what you're trying to sell them. So goes the message on email or Facebook or TikTok or LinkedIn or Instagram or any of them. You have to be able to get and keep that attention for long enough to get your message across. And so that's engaging. It's more than just the act of interrupting. It is the actual, jumping in there to really tell them something briefly, who you are, what you're doing, and why you stopped them. But then the hope is, if you can engage them for just long enough, that you carry them over with something that's interesting, because then you go to the education portion of the show. Okay. So in educating, you want to leverage the market dominating position. Okay. If you're not familiar with that, then, we talk about it a lot around here, because I think it's one of the key elements to the growth of any business, to the gathering of customers of any business, offering anything, if possible. And this is, for you folks that are online, this is harder to do. Okay, I'll acknowledge that. This is harder for us to do when we're marketing online to people. If you're a local business, this is absolutely crucial. So a market dominating position, for those who don't know, it is a concept. So you've heard of a unique selling proposition, perhaps, in sales. It's what makes your business unique, what makes your product offerings kind of unique and special and all that. It helps you stand out possibly from at least one competition, if not more than one competition, to kind of propel you a little bit more to the front so people notice you, right? So the market dominating position takes that a step further. We start talking about not only what makes you unique, but we start thinking about your audience. What is it that your audience feels is important? You've picked a particular audience, and there are conversations both ways we've had about niching down. So, or not niching down. And so that's not entirely what we're talking about. We're talking about relative, what are your audience needs relative to what you offer? Okay, because then that's the follow-up question. So your audience has particular hot button needs. They have particular things that you're reaching out to them for in this particular group of people, one set at a time. Now, you could change audiences later if you're not niching down, but perhaps they should have, relative to what you offer, some need around that. And it's something that you can relate it to, because once you've identified with your audience and you've identified what their hot button needs are, the next thing you have to do is say, okay, this is how I solve that problem for you, like no one else. This is the problem you have. I know you have it. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care what kind of business you own, but this is then what we're going to talk about. And this is how I can meet your need. This is how I can make that happen for you. And that is the market dominating position. So when you're educating somebody, part of this is you have to acknowledge that, and you have to really play to it. Okay. So when you're doing that, provide value, provide lots and lots of value in the education process. I've been talking recently, we've been putting together some information about webinars. And one of the things is the concept is give them the what. A lot of people, including probably us over time, give give people the what, but not the how when it comes to information like that. Okay. So they give them they give them the, oh, this is the cool thing. This is we're acknowledging it, but they don't give you the tools to do it. They don't give you the tools to go through this. So I would hope in the time that we have here, we give you some of the how. We don't get to give you all the how, I'll be honest, but I know it's there. Okay. But if you're willing to follow these things and you're willing to investigate them, then the how is here. Okay. When we get to webinars that we're going to do a little bit later on is part of some of the how we're going to add value for all of you, then we're going to add a lot more how. So, and have a lot more tools to make that, to drive the points home. Okay. But for right now, you have to give them that. But this goes true of anything. I mean, when you go into a new social media group, we have said this forever, and not just us. Multiple people have said this, and yet folks still don't get it. They still spam. They still get caught by all of this. So add value first. Constantly add value. So when you're educating somebody about why you're different, about why you're hitting their need, meeting their needs, why you're seemingly inside their head, speaking the language of the need that they have with a solution that only you can provide, are you adding real value to do that? Are you proving your point with value? Are you adding lots of value? Okay, you're getting the idea, right? So lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of value until you're sick of it. But I promise you they're not, because this is what's going to get their attention. It's all going to feed together, okay? And so if you do all that right, if you really hit their market dominating position, if you hit those hot button issues and you're really solving them for them, and you're really speaking their language, and you're just shoveling value at them relative to that, this is how I can really solve your problem. Here's a little way that you can kind of start tackling your problem. And I'm here if you really need some help with it beyond that. I mean, I give you a lot of solutions and ways to solve problems in these different lives. But if you really want them done with you, if we want them together, if we want to roadmap that out and get it down to your business specifically, then we need to ultimately, you will need help. You'll need the business and marketing optimization services, coaching services that we offer. And that's why that's important. So you'll ultimately want to get to that. At least that's the hope anyway. So if you've done all that and you've added the value, then it's time to get them to ask for the sale. Now they're not, and ask for the offer. Okay. Some people call it asking for the sale, or it's asking for the offer. Okay. So people, if you've done everything correctly, there will come a point, and it's a nonverbal point. Okay, generally a nonverbal point. They're not going to say, well, what would you like to sell me today since you've gone to all this trouble? People don't talk like that. I don't care who they are. That would just be easy, wouldn't it? But there are nonverbal ways, and even some verbal ones, where they will indirectly ask for this. Is when you have their full attention, when you have their full interest, when everything you say, you can just see them go, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I never thought about that before. Oh, that's how you know. That's how they are all but asking for the offer at that point. They're all but asking for you to help them with this. And if you've done your presentation right, if you've done the setup correctly, if you've done homework and you really understand these people that you're reaching out to, be it marketing agencies, you're reaching out to your customers, for their clients, or if you're, a business that has customers out there of any kind, and you're trying to reach out to them directly with or without help. At some point, you want them to all but ask for that offer. You have baited them and valued them so much that they're just, they're really invested. They're really into this, but they're not quite sure how to move forward. That is your offer point that you want to get them to, right? Okay, so then we get to the offer, okay? And this is ultimately what you want to get to. Now, let's understand before we go into these, I know you can read them, but let's understand that we may not always get here, okay? You may interrupt them, but you may not keep their attention. You may engage them a little bit and they're just, okay, you told me what you want to tell me. I'm not interested. See you later. Like phone call I took yesterday. Not interested. Or you may educate them and you don't do as good a job at educating them about why they need what it is that you're offering as you should have, or you didn't add enough value, just threw the offer at them. So you may not even, for any number of reasons, you may not even get here, right? So so you need to make this the offer needs to be relevant. You need to have done your homework. You need to have the solution needs to be relevant to what it is that they're doing. I mean, you've spent so much time getting them here. You've got them interrupted. You got them stopped. You got them engaged. You have their attention. You've educated them a little bit. They're on board. You provided some value. So the offer needs to be relevant to what they're doing. And then you don't switch to something else. Or I get all your attention about how I can help your business, and then I offer you a sandwich. Huh? What's that about? So those are extreme examples, but it's don't spend the time educating them about something, about simple way. Let's get a more practical example. Okay. So you spend all your time, you've gone through the first 3 steps of the conversion equation. You've got them interrupted. You've got them educated. You got them ready on how to do inexpensive ways to do to get customers, how to bring them in, how you get a referral program. I mean, normally it would be do a referral program, maybe some customer reactivation, get some reviews out there. That'd be good. Some marketing fundamental stuff, and you're all ready to go, and they think it's being a low cost thing, and then you say, oh, all you need now is a website. No, that's not what you started with. You went for the home run, didn't you? So make the offer relevant to what to their need. Make the offer relevant to what you spent all this time building up to do. It sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people don't do this well. They want that home run, and they've built a case for everything but to get their attention, and then they go for the home run. And just for the thing that's so much more expensive, so far out of reach, not what they had in mind, not what they were geared up for. That's one, in many states that's illegal, and that's bait and switch. But on a legal level, but at the very least on an ethical level, it's not going to get you many sales. What will get you sales here is point number 2, and that is risk reversal. Ours is we've had a guarantee for a while. We're actually going to fixing to tighten it up some, but it's 350 that we can find. Basically, that all the profit that we find you in a success blueprint, we can achieve for you in 6 months. If you want something faster than that, how about this? We can double your profit in 90 days. Whatever profit you're making right now, we can double in 90 days. Both of those are true. Both of those are what we live on, but how we're adjusting our risk reversal is a guarantee. So we're going to go with the easy one first. And the hope is by that point, the second one is very attainable, but it doesn't have to be guaranteed. That's not an out, everybody. That is not an out. We will have, what with the strategies that we put forward that we've been reviewing here for the past little while, the past many months on this channel, and where you're watching this, are completely doable. They will contribute to a staggering amount of profit that you are missing out on. That is right there for your taking. It's not out of thin air. If you do these reasonably common sense things in the right way, you're going to reap the benefits. If we combine enough of them together, you're going to really reap the benefits of it, and it's going to blow your mind as to how much that is, and how much then gets to go back in. And then when that's put back into your business, then the fun begins, because then you get to we talk about a concept called real business life change, and it's basically what happens in your business and in your life when your debts are paid. You don't owe anybody anything. You have some time freedom. You have some other things. You have the confidence that systems are working inside your business, that they're taken care of, so you can take your foot off the gas a little bit, and just go back to the things that bring you joy. If all you want to do is talk to people about buying what you have and doing business with you, and that's what you excel at, because you don't have to, and imagine how much fun that would be, because you don't have to worry about the other stuff, because you have the confidence behind you that it's being taken care of properly, because you worked hard to set it up that way. So then you get to go do the thing that brings you joy, that recharges you, that supercharges you, in fact, and gets you going. Risk reversal can do all of that. A good offer can do all of that with risk reversal, because then it gets them to say yes. And when they say yes and they go through and they start adding to those profits and these strategies start working, this is how much of a bump you can expect to increase in your profits, and how much that changes your, not only your business life, but your life. Particularly if you're an owner, manager, that sort of thing. I mean, they get a lot of flack for, being at the top and being the boss and all that. But I guarantee you, those of you who are not, if you trade places with them, you want that, you'll want back what you had. It's like the classic TV show thing where the husband and the wife trade places for one day, and all the chaos that happens in both realms, frankly, and how much both sides learn from what's going on. Okay. So, that's just something to think about. And that is a lot of what we shoot for, is that real business life change, and a solid offer is a part of what makes that happen. Okay. So finally, the last aspect of the offer here is, and you've already seen it, they should feel silly turning you down. If you've done this correctly, and this, we'll speak to this a little bit more in just a little bit, okay? Teaser, but a good, compelling offer, you should feel silly turning it down. You should feel foolish saying no to it. It's so good. It's so inside your head. It so speaks to the needs that you have. It's so giving you value that you just can't turn it down, right? That's the mark of a good, compelling offer. And I've been going through this lately, guys, and it's one thing to talk about this. It's another thing to actually create it. And it's hard. It is not easy. And it requires a lot of thought, but it's good thought. It's thought you need to have. It's what you need to go through, because it's a part of your entire process that's involved with people saying yes. Okay. So that is the conversion equation. It's the interrupt. It is the educate, the engage, the educate, and the offer. So incorporate these into your sales process. Incorporate this stuff into what you do. Try really hard, not just to blanket pitch people, but to really target people that you can make a difference for, add that value and make that difference for them. And that is a sale worth having on both sides. Then these people get a problem solved that they have but didn't want, and they get a solution that they want but didn't have. And the same goes for you. You get a client that you really wanted, that you can serve well. Because then, I mean, it's one thing to load yourself up with all the people that you could possibly, buy your stuff. It's another to be able to support them. If you can't support them, you're going to lose them just as fast. And it doesn't matter what your pitch is, if they're not staying, and if that word is getting back, and you're overwhelmed, and it will cause other problems that you didn't even think of. Speaking of being overwhelmed, let's touch briefly on what is media overload. And we're doing this with the help of a company whose logo you see here. They are called Black Sky Digital. And full disclosure, Black Sky Digital is doing ads for JKO Works, for my company. You will see them before long. And the reason for that is this. Some of the things that they talk about really got my attention as we were looking through, when I wasn't necessarily looking for this solution. I wasn't necessarily looking for an ad provider. They lived out the conversion equation, guys. I'm here to tell you. Because they interrupted what I was doing. It was a need I didn't know I had. I mean, I know what ads are. Certainly, I've done them and done them for clients, but it wasn't necessarily a road I was ready to go down. But then they started talking about this concept of media overload, and it is something we all experience and are so deep into it we don't necessarily know we experience it. So as we mentioned before, it's all the notifications, it's all the social media scrolling, it's all the videos, it's all the emails, it's all the text messages, it's all the, and we're constantly updated about every possible thing you can possibly imagine. And you sign on to any business, you friend somebody on LinkedIn and all of, or like a channel on YouTube, and all of a sudden your inbox is flooded with stuff that you didn't ask for and didn't know where it came from. Those are particularly bad about it. DMs out of nowhere, random WhatsApp things. I'm about to cancel WhatsApp because I don't really need it. And all it is people getting on there who put you on Bitcoin groups and start flooding you to death. That's not going to work either, guys. That's really not going to work. That's the kind of things that we are deluged with. And so that is what they refer to as media overload. So we are absolutely overwhelmed by this. And it's crazy. So any message must cut through that. Any message that anything that that if you're going to offer something, if you're going to pitch people on something, if you're going to really, come up with something that is absolutely 100% legit, then you have to be able to cut through this. You have to be able to make that happen. Okay. And you kind of do that, at least a starting way anyway, with the thing that doesn't belong. There's an old TV show here in the U.S. I think it was either Sesame Street or Electric Company, when you're a kid. But it was one of these things is not like the other. And so that's kind of what this is about. And it goes back to, like we were talking about with TikTok earlier. Find the unique thing that stands out. Find create the different thing that grabs attention. That's part of the interrupt cycle. This falls squarely in the interrupt cycle. So it's the TikTok video I reference a lot that was shown to me when I was learning about its impact and what we could do. It's a video of a guy laying asphalt, right? And you're watching this kind of from a distance. It's a little parking lot area, and he's laying asphalt, and it looks like a fairly common thing, except then you all of a sudden realize he's doing so in a 3-piece suit. Now, first of all, that's got to be unbelievably hot and nasty. But that was the point, is trying to get attention, trying to find the thing that doesn't belong, trying to interrupt that flow and cut through that media overload. But in real legitimate ways to get your message out, you're going to have to figure out how to do that in ways that are relevant and not cheesy. And not too cheesy anyway, but certainly the more relevant to if you're a business, the more relevant to what it is that you do and why that's important, the better off you're going to be with it. So next time we talk, we're going to dive into this a little bit deeper, and I'm bringing on some help to answer this concept of media overload far better than I can. A gentleman named Chris Wayne from Black Sky Digital is going to join us, and he's going to talk about it. Because this is one of the things that intrigued me about them. Another, frankly, is the concept that we talk about a lot, and we will again in a minute, called the compelling offer. And that goes back to a minute ago, where you have an offer that people feel foolish saying no to. That's the exact same things that we talk about. That's the exact same things that they're talking about. And so this is a number of reasons that got my attention and got me to, and my company to commit to a service that we didn't necessarily need at the time. It will do us good to do it, but we weren't necessarily looking for that. But they did everything that we preach back to us, which is kind of an interesting experience. So here we are. And so he's going to talk about some of that the next time that we're on Boost Live here. So I'm really excited about that, really looking forward to it. But the concept of media overload, they explain far better than I do. But it is, we are just so many of the same messages all the time that you have to figure out a way to cut through that somehow, some way, to get your message across, to in good ethical legal ways. But at the same time, when you do, you've got to be able to actually meet a need that somebody has. Because think about it, if somebody stops you and interrupts you what you're doing but absolutely waste your time, how pissed off are you? You're very at lowest point, you're annoyed. At greater point, you are really upset. So that's something you're going to have to contend with on the other side, and that's something we're trying to avoid. So we will talk about media overload with Black Sky Digital next time. So I'm really excited about that. Hope you will join us and be on the lookout for it, because we're going to promote the heck out of it. Now, let's talk about, back to the point at hand. Let's talk about how to cut through said media overload and get to offers, get to sales, how to cut through what's going on and really convert those prospects, those ones you work so hard to get their attention. Excuse me. How do you convert them into sales, right? So the first thing, and none of this should be terribly surprising, is the master the market dominating position. Be inside their head with the thing that really matters to them, with the hot button issues and the solutions that you have that solve those problems, the solutions that your client has that solve those problems. That is the first place you start, is doing that kind of research before you ever engage or interrupt or stand in front of anybody. Have this done ahead of time. And so these are core. If you talk about getting a business going or getting a business on the right track and where to start, this is probably the first place that I would start, except with certain exceptions. And then the next thing I'm going to talk about would be the first place that I would start. But they go hand in hand. They really honestly do. So the second place I would start is a good, compelling offer. That is a way to cut through as well. So what is your offer that makes them feel foolish if they turn it down? It's so good. It's so inside their head. It's so with them. It so connects to them with what they're doing and what they need, that they can't turn it down. They're so conflicted. They got to buy it over time because it's that good. It's the ads when you didn't need ads, guys. So it is that. So that is the compelling offer that we talk about. And the final thing is something we've kind of touched on here: add value first, and a lot. And the more media overload there is, the more value you have to add to cut through it. The more you make a difference by adding things that are positive, not things that are time wasters. Nobody likes to have their time wasted. Everybody likes to learn a little something if it's something that they're even remotely interested or curious about, and think they may have a need for. And then a good proposition will take them from maybe having a need, or could have a need, I don't know, who knows, all the way to, yes, I need to buy that from you, and from you, and not from anybody else, because you're hopefully you're the only one that offers it, or one of very few people that offers it. That's the caveat to a market dominating position. As we said earlier, for an online business, it doesn't always work, because there's so many online businesses that may do the same thing. But it's, where are you cutting through in your community that you serve, and getting inside their head and offering that thing that makes you so unique, that solves their problem like nobody else can, even if you're not the only game in town. If you're a local business, try to be the only game in town. If you're an online, that's understandable that you're not, but still try to be the only game in town. Try to get as close as you can to being the one provider of that solution, so they don't look anywhere else. These are the ways you cut through the media overload right here. So if you're not building your sales processes around all of this, then you're not doing it well. And you may have short-term success, but you will not have long-term success. I promise you, if you take the time to research this, and you take the time to really understand what these different things are and why they're important and why they work, and you put them all together and make them relevant to what you offer, and your close rate will go through the roof. Your conversion rate will be amazing because you've already done the legwork. You have already done the things necessary. And in that respect, then it'll be hard. It'll be near impossible for somebody to turn you down because it just makes too much stupid sense, you know? So that's it. However, if you want some help doing these things, if you want some help figuring out your market dominating position, if you want some help, some very personalized help figuring out what your compelling offer is, if you want some help adding value, then consider us. See us over here with our hand up, wanting to be picked, wanting to be tapped as the opportunity to do that. And all of that starts with a free, no obligation, 1 hour of your time success blueprint or digital success blueprint if you're an online business. If you go book those now, then and get on the calendar, then you'll know. You'll have a report in hand. We give that to you. It's yours to keep. You can do with it whatever you want. We hope you need our services, and if so, we hope you choose us for those services to turn a lot of these things into reality, like a market dominating position, a compelling offer, cost cutting measures, different ways, marketing fundamental ways to bring in people, generating a stupid amount of profits you didn't know were there, and stupid good. Like a larger number than you thought possible. But your business should be at a place where it's looking for help for this to really work. You really have to be at a point where you say, you know what, I'm not doing this 100%. I'm not as effective as I want to be. This is just not working. I need some help. And so that's where we come in. That's where we come alongside. Some of the most successful people out there have coaches who work with them on very specific things, or sometimes as an overall thing. And they make it unique to them. Speaking with a health coach yesterday, because, we all can be healthier. And that was one of the things that she tailors everything she does to the individual people. To her individual clients. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. None of it is. Anybody who tells you so or tries to shove it at you isn't doing their homework, isn't finishing the job. It's got to be unique. It's got to be tailored. Every situation is different, and your clients frankly deserve that, or your clients' customers deserve that from the client. So they deserve that opportunity to do that. So that's where we start, is the success blueprint. So we come up, we go through different strategies. We walk you through them. Only 3 or 4 to start. We add some more later. But our goal is to get $50,000 of profit you didn't know you had in that time if you only do these few things. And if you think you can go do them, have at it. You will have the entire roadmap to go make that happen. But if you would like some help, that's where we excel. That's where our joy is. That's where we get a lot more. We have a lot more fun. I'll do blueprints, yeah, but I would really rather help a business all day, every day, and sit around and think about ways using the strategies that we have, the 40-something strategies that I have at my disposal to try to get you more customers, to try to get you more profits, and to try to get you to a place of real business life change where you have freedom to do the things that bring you joy. If you want to go, if you want to do nothing but make the stuff that you sell, and you don't really care to sell it to anybody, well, then we have your sales system in place, and you can go make that all day, every day. Maybe you're a baker and baking is what you really enjoy. Maybe you're a salesperson and you really just enjoy talking to people and connecting with people and seeing how they're going. Maybe customer service is your thing. Boy, are you a rare and good person. But some people, they really do thrive from talking to customers and watching them be served and fulfilled and happy. There's some folks in this world that's what brings them joy. Wouldn't it be much more comforting if everything was taken care of and you don't have to think about things like that? So that's what we get you to, and the success blueprint provides the roadmap. But then the ProfitWorks implementation is where we go from there. And there's a couple of different looks that can have. Either it's week by week that we work on it together for our main type, and we give you lots and lots and lots of value that goes along with that. You get access to the Success Academy for training and to answer questions and all sorts of things. More questions than you probably have can be answered there. Or it's the Jumpstart, ProfitWorks Jumpstart, where it's unlimited 15-minute sessions, as many as you can stand. But there's homework involved. So then we get to be a sounding board. We get to be a confidant. We get to be somebody who will weigh, like was done for me today, honestly. We get to weigh the pros and cons of certain things and why they would work and why they won't work. And so you sort of get both sides so you can make an informed and educated decision before making that decision. So that's the value of coaching. That's what we offer. That's what we provide. And like I said, the Success Blueprint is that roadmap at blueprint.jklworks.com. You can pick yours. It is absolutely free, and except for an hour of your time. So let's see what that looks like, but be prepared that we're, going to make it worth your while, and we're going to offer you the chance to move on, because that's our conversion and that's how it works. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. There's a lot more to come. And as I say, next time we're going to break down media overload, so you will not want to miss that. We will talk to you soon. Thanks so much for watching.